Hey YouTube, and welcome to another episode of Blind Piper Reacts. I am Michael Kazmierski Dunn, if you guys don't know who I am. So, this is episode 2. So the last episode was my reaction to Maurice Ravel's piece, Scarbo, in the three movements of the piece called Gaspard de la Nuit. And thanks, Hailey, for giving me the right pronunciation. If you guys don't know who Hailey is, quick introduction. So, she's one of my absolutely coolest friends in the world. I really like her so much. I really wish she was my girlfriend because I've never ever found any cooler girls than Hailey. Even if it's perfect pitch. I love that she has perfect pitch. I love that she's very musical. She loves all my favorite singers and all that sort of thing. And I had no success whatsoever with online dating sites, and I really don't think I'll ever find a good match besides her. I mean, hey, I'm being honest. So, anyway, so the last piece I did was Scarbo, and so I think what she said is that that's the third movement of this big piece that Ravel wrote. And so I thought, since I did the third one first, I will do them in reverse order. So I will start with the second movement. Now, I have plugged the pronunciation into my screen reader, which can also speak French. So this is the second piece in the second movement in the piece is Gibet, I think it is. Let me see how my screen reader would say it.
Gibet.
Yep, Le Gibet. Yep, so it's by Maurice Ravel from 1875 to 1937. So, Hailey didn't send this one to me. I actually found it just now. And so, what happened with the Scarbo piece is that Hailey sent it to me the day before, and so it was not as authentic a reaction as it would be if I heard it for the first time, and I've never heard any of these other two pieces for the first time. So both of these I found on my own. Gibet is played by a different pianist than the first movement, which I'll do last, which I'll pronounce later, and the Scarbo movement. I don't know the name of the pianist, but who cares? It's still Ravel. So here we go. We'll start with Gibet because we did 3, so I thought, okay, 3, and then 2, and then 1. So here we go. Hopefully it'll be loud enough again. You know what? In my audio editor, I'll zero it so it's as loud as possible. Okay, here we go. Ooh, nice and peaceful, quiet. 3rd and 4th octave B flat. Ooh. Ooh. A chord with a B and a C in it. Tritone, also known as a devil's interval. I'm used to devil's interval more than tritone. To me, devil's interval seems to make a little bit more sense, but tritone does also make sense because there are 3 whole tones, or just tones, and 3 tones. So, anyway. There's that tritone. Ooh, a major 7th from E4 to E flat 5. Very interesting. pretty dreamy. I didn't think it would be that slow. This is my first time hearing it, so... Ooh. Nice harmonizing from the first compared to the first time that was played. Ooh. I've heard that chord used in Debussy pieces a lot. Which would be... what would it be in solfege? Maybe something like, you know, re, mi, so, and te, or an inversion of it. I have no idea what that type of chord is called, but I've heard it used in some Debussy pieces. So, like that. Unfortunately, I don't know as much about music theory as Hailey does. The only reason why I wasn't a music major was so that I wouldn't have to survive awful slow wobble vibratos, because choir was probably, and band and orchestra, but I didn't like those. Choir was my only choice for counting as ensemble, and you had to have ensemble credits for a music major, and so choir students had to attend some master classes by opera singers, and my sister Lizzie, who went there with me, told me that some of these opera singers had awful wobble vibratos. I'm like, But I do learn a lot of musical things quite quickly, so one thing I'm struggling to learn is the two-number chord names. So, I mean, I only know of, like, you know, major, minor, major seventh, minor seventh, you know, first inversion, second inversion, you know, like, things like that. But if somebody mentions, like, you know, what is a, you know, 4-6, 4-2, whatever, 4-5 chord, whatever it is, it doesn't make sense to me yet. So, anyway, sorry for kind of blabbing on about that. Where were we? Debussy chord. I like to call it the Debussy chord because I've heard it mostly in Debussy pieces. Hang on, truck going by. That's what you get for living in the middle of the city. And with the windows open. If my windows were shut, it would be absolutely stuffy in here. So, anyway. Ooh, augmented chords. Ooh. Well, it doesn't sound too complicated so far. Maybe the chords might be a little, but compared to Scarbo, this is more of a pibroch style of, this kind of reminds me of a piano pibroch, if you will. Because pibrochs start really slow. Pibroch is the classical genre of bagpipe music, which was never ever taught using sheet music. It's all taught vocally. So, ooh. Wow. Now we're starting to get complicated here. Ooh. You gotta... From my laptop's awful speakers, because they have no bass, you got this E major 7th with a B flat in it. That's... wow. I may have the notes wrong, but this is as loud as it can go, so... Sounds almost like bells that are cast in really interesting shapes. I've read about bell casting in 2016 and how it can change the harmonics of the bells. I can't remember where the site was, but those pages taught me a lot about bell harmonics, and this reminds me of bell harmonics a little bit. Octave and a fifth, and an octave plus a tritone. Very interesting. Ooh, diminished chords. Or a diminished key, I mean. This one is much easier to comprehend compared to Scarbo for me as a bagpiper. Ooh. A7 with a B flat in it. Chromaticism, haha. Reminds me of some music that appeared in my dreams long ago. Sounds almost like a music box now. Pretty cool. Tritone again. Ooh. This is complicated, but it's... If Scarbo were like Vorrei spiegarvi, which is probably one of the more complicated vocal pieces I've heard, this would be more like... maybe a little beyond O mio bambino caro. I mean, it's easier to understand, but it's not like anybody can approach it. It's like intermediate. So far. So far. Maybe I'll turn it up a little bit so I can hear the chords a little better. That double octave B flat seems to be a very common kind of theme in this piece. Is it over? Oh, it says stop, so it is over. Okay.